The legal obligations for public bodies in respect of the Irish language are contained in the Official Languages Act. The Government has recently introduced further provisions of the Official Languages Act, with further obligations for public bodies coming into effect from the 21st of December 2024. Following the introduction of these new obligations, public bodies will need to review their processes and procedures to ensure compliance with them. Until now, where members of the public communicated with public bodies in writing or by email, public bodies are required to reply in the same language used. For example, where emails are received in the Irish language, they must be replied to in the Irish language. This requirement is now extended to social media communications. Where there are Irish language communications to public bodies through social media channels, they must be responded to in the Irish language. When a public body is altering its logo, it must ensure that the text in the logo is in the Irish language or in both the Irish and English languages. Similarly, the name of any newly established statutory body must be in the Irish language or in both languages. Where a third party provides a public-facing service on behalf of a public body, that third party must also comply with the various obligations under the Official Languages Acts. This is relevant where a public body outsources some of its public-facing services. There are some obligations which are not immediately operational, as they require the Minister to take further action, for example by specifying the public bodies to whom these obligations will apply. Public bodies will be required to ensure that their information systems facilitate use of a person's Irish name and address, including use of the Síne Fada. Furthermore, certain official forms will need to be produced in both Irish and English languages. One final important point to note is the repeal of the Irish language schemes. Up until now, public bodies have been required to publish Irish language schemes which outline the steps which they intend to take to promote use of the Irish language. The Irish language schemes are now repealed and will be replaced by language standards. Through language standards, the Government will set out services to be provided through the Irish language and levels of competence in the Irish language required. However, these language standards are not yet in place. The Minister must firstly hold a consultation and secondly notify public bodies. The Department published a press release in December 2024 indicating that the consultation process will begin in early 2025. This means that public bodies will have advance notice of the introduction of the language standards, giving them much needed time to consider their requirements. In light of these new obligations, public bodies should now consider how the new statutory provisions affect them. Public bodies should review their processes and procedures to ensure compliance with the legislation, consider whether public-facing services which are outsourced to third parties are in compliance with the obligations, monitor social media communications and ensure that those communications in the Irish language are replied to in Irish, consider whether their IT systems will be able to process names and addresses in the Irish language, including use of the Fada. And finally, consider and engage with the upcoming consultation on Irish language standards.